Willow Creek, Ohio, is a small town where everyone knows each other's names, and tree-lined streets lead you to the town square, where St. Joseph's Catholic Church stands tall, its bell ringing every Sunday morning. Life here moves slowly, with coffee mornings at the brew stop and weekend evenings gathered around family dinner tables. Mary Thompson, 29, is a freelance graphic designer living in a small but cozy apartment on the edge of town. She loves the quiet of Willow Creek, but her heart belongs to Fred Harper, a salesman with a charming smile and endless business trips. Over the past year, Fred has become the center of Mary's world, but cracks are starting to show in their love story. One evening, while scrolling through Instagram, Mary stumbles across a photo that leaves her stunned, and her journey for the truth begins. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. I'm curled up on the armchair in my small Willow Creek apartment, my MacBook sitting silently on the coffee table next to a cold Starbucks cup. The afternoon sunlight filters through the curtains, casting a glow on the gray IKEA rug Fred insisted on buying for me last summer. "It brightens the room, babe," he'd said, flashing that smile that made my heart skip. Fred Harper, with his messy brown hair and eyes that always seemed to hold a secret, was the man I thought I'd spend my life with. But lately something's been off. Fred's a salesman for a medical equipment company, always traveling to big cities like Chicago or Cleveland. He'd come back with stories about difficult clients or fancy dinners at restaurants he could never quite name. But for the past few weeks, he's been elusive. My texts often sit on read with no reply. FaceTime calls have been replaced with quick messages. "Swamped, babe, I'll call tomorrow." And then there was the time he mentioned an Italian restaurant in Chicago, but when I checked, it was a local spot in Columbus, less than an hour's drive from Willow Creek. I shake my head, telling myself I'm overthinking it. Maybe he's just stressed from work. I take a sip of the cold coffee and grab my phone, scrolling through Instagram to kill time. Pictures of friends' weekend BBQs, a puppy from the pet store on Main Street, and then, I stop scrolling. A post from a stranger's account at EmmaHarp92 makes my heart race. In the photo, Fred stands next to a young woman with blonde hair tied up, holding a baby in a pristine white christening outfit. He's smiling, his hand resting gently on her shoulder, like they're the perfect family. The caption reads, "Happy family at baby Jack's christening. St. Mary's, Maple Grove." The location tag, Maple Grove, less than 20 miles away. I stare at the screen, feeling the air drain from the room. Fred never mentioned a child or a wife. Harper is his last name. I always thought it was common, but now it feels like a warning. I zoom in on the photo, searching for any sign this is a mistake. Maybe she's his cousin, friend. But the way he looks at her, the way he holds the baby, it's too intimate, too real. I stand pacing across the IKEA rug Fred picked out. This apartment, filled with things he gave me, from the Target lamp to the abstract painting on the wall, now feels like a lie. I think of the nights he came over, bringing pizza from Luigi's and promises of a future together. "Someday, babe, we'll have a bigger house, a backyard, a dog," he'd said, kissing my forehead. How could I trust a man who might be living another life, just 20 miles away? I open Google Maps and type, Maple Grove, Ohio. Sure enough, it's right off Highway 71, a place I've driven past on my way to visit friends in Columbus. I search St. Mary's Maple Grove, and find a Catholic church website with details about this weekend's christening. Will Fred be there? I don't know what I'll do if I confront him, but I need answers. I grab my car keys, my heart pounding. My Honda Civic is parked on the street, under an old oak tree. I glance back at the apartment, the afternoon light making everything look deceptively peaceful. I think of my mom, who always said true love never makes you doubt yourself. But now I doubt everything. Fred, our love, and myself for not seeing it sooner. As I start the car, the radio plays Sweet Caroline, a song Fred used to sing along to whenever we drove to dinner. I turn it off, unwilling to hear anything that reminds me of him. The drive to Maple Grove is only 30 minutes, but I know this journey will change everything. I'm not sure I'm ready for the truth, but I can't turn back. Not now. Highway 71 stretches out before me, a gray ribbon cutting through fields of green corn, the sunset painting the sky gold. I grip the steering wheel, my breaths shallow, trying to focus on the steady hum of my Honda Civic's engine instead of the storm inside me. Maple Grove is only 30 minutes from Willow Creek, but every mile feels like it's pulling me into a foreign world where everything I believed might crumble. A sign reads, "Welcome to Maple Grove, home of friendly faces," and I turn onto a quiet street where suburban houses line up neatly, identical like cookies cut from the same mold. I park in front of 142 Oak Lane, the address I found on the Instagram post. The house in front of me sends a chill down my spine. It doesn't just resemble my Willow Creek apartment. It's practically a mirror image. Cream-colored brick walls, white-trimmed windows, even the red geraniums in pots by the porch. I wonder if Fred deliberately chose similar places to make it easier to slip between two lives, or if it's just a weird coincidence of Ohio real estate developers. Either way, the similarity makes me feel like I'm stepping into a distorted dream. I take a deep breath and get out of the car. The faint sound of church bells echoes in the distance, probably from St. Mary's, where baby Jack's christening will take place. I knock on the door, my hands trembling, unsure of what I'll say when it opens. A young woman with blonde hair tied up answers. She's wearing an oversized Ohio State t-shirt and a friendly smile. "Hi. You're here for the christening, right?" she asks, her voice warm but tinged with exhaustion. Her blue eyes, bright as an autumn sky, hold a genuine warmth, but I notice faint dark circles, signs of sleepless nights with a baby. I hesitate, my brain scrambling for an excuse. "I'm Mary, a friend of Fred's." The word friend comes out awkwardly, like it carries a confession. "Oh great. Fred mentioned a friend might stop by." She opens the door wider, inviting me in. "I'm Emma, his wife. Come in, don't be shy." The house is a bit messy because of baby Jack, but I made peanut butter cookies if you want some. I step inside, feeling like I'm walking a tightrope. The house is a twin of my apartment. A beige Target sofa, an oak dining table, and a slightly crooked sunflower painting on the wall. But there are differences. A folded stroller by the door, a pile of Fisher-Price toys scattered on the floor, and the faint smell of baby formula. Emma leads me to the kitchen, where a tray of freshly baked cookies sits on the counter. "Have a seat," she says, pushing a chair toward me. "Fred's in Cleveland, but he'll be back for the christening tomorrow. You know how his job keeps him busy." I nod, trying to keep my face neutral. "Cleveland. Another business trip. But I know Fred was in Columbus last week because he sent me a photo from Jenny's ice cream there." "Yeah, he's busy," I say, my voice hoarse. I look around, noticing a family photo on a shelf. Fred, Emma, and a baby with rosy cheeks. Baby Jack, no doubt. Fred's smile in the picture is the same one he gave me every time he came to Willow Creek. Emma sets a plate of cookies in front of me and sits down, cradling a Lipton tea mug. "I'm glad you're here," she says softly. "This christening means a lot to us. Jack is my whole world, and Fred. He's a great dad, even if he's not home much." She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. I wonder if she suspects anything, or if she's just trying to hold everything together for her son. "Jack's adorable," I say, glancing at the photo. "How old is he?" I need to keep the conversation going, to buy time to figure out what's happening before I decide what to do. 6 months, Emma replies, her eyes lighting up at the mention of her son. "He's a handful, but he's my greatest joy." "Do you have kids, Mary?" I shake my head, guilt rising in my chest. "No, I'm still looking for the right person, I guess." I bite into a cookie, the peanut butter melting on my tongue, but it's hard to swallow. How can I sit here, eating this woman's cookies, when I'm in love with her husband? Emma talks about her life. Working part-time at a flower shop in Maple Grove, morning walks with Jack around the park, and waiting for Fred to come home from his trips. She speaks of him with pride, but I notice pauses in her story, moments where she looks down at her tea and sighs. "Sometimes I wonder if he's really happy with this life," she says, almost a whisper. "But then I think as long as we have Jack, we'll be okay." I want to scream to tell her Fred isn't just unhappy. He's living another life with me in Willow Creek. But I can't. Not now when she's looking at me with such trust, like I'm an old friend. Instead I ask, what's the christening like tomorrow? Will it be a big crowd? Oh, just close family, Emma says, standing to grab more tea. St. Mary's is doing a small ceremony. Then we'll have a party in the backyard. Can you stay? I could use help keeping an eye on Jack when everyone arrives. Hesitate. Leaving would be the easy choice, but something in Emma's voice, her sincerity, the loneliness behind her smile, makes me unable to walk away. Sure, I say, forcing a smile. I'll stay. As Emma shows me the fold-out sofa in the living room, I feel myself sinking deeper into a web of lies. But this time I'm not just a victim. I'm becoming part of the story, and I know sooner or later the truth will explode. Night falls over Maple Grove, and I lie on the fold-out sofa in Emma's living room, moonlight slipping through the curtains, casting silver streaks across the hardwood floor. The steady breathing of baby Jack drifts from the bedroom, mingling with the ticking of a wall clock, a sound both comforting and unnerving. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Fred's smile from that Instagram photo, the same smile he gave me during our evenings in Willow Creek. How could someone split their heart like that? Or worse, build a perfect charade to deceive us both? I sit up quietly, pulling the thin blanket off. The living room is filled with traces of a family life. A pair of Fred's sneakers by the door, a can of Similac on a shelf, and a birthday card pinned to a bulletin board. To Emma, love forever, Fred. My stomach twists. It's his handwriting, the same slanted scrawl I've seen on notes he left in my apartment. I want to leave, to drive back to Willow Creek and forget everything, but my feet feel glued to the floor. Emma doesn't deserve to be hurt, and Jack, the baby with rosy cheeks, doesn't deserve to grow up in a family built on lies. The next morning, sunlight spills across Emma's backyard, where she's bustling about, preparing for the christening. She's wearing a pale blue maxi dress, her hair loosely tied, and setting up folding chairs around an outdoor wooden table. Mary, can you help me hang these balloons? She calls, her voice cheerful but rushed. I nod, tying white and gold balloons to the fence, trying to focus on the task to avoid thinking about Fred. You look like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, Emma says, tossing me a playful smile as she sets a tray of sandwiches on the table. Everything okay? I hesitate, my hands tightening around a balloon string. Yeah, just didn't sleep well. I want to tell her the truth, to confess about Fred, about the nights he spent with me at Luigi's, about the promises he broke. But I'm afraid her eyes will change, from friendly to hurt, and I don't know if I can bear that. Emma pauses, wiping her hands on her apron, and looks at me with curiosity. You know, I don't sleep much either. Especially when Fred's on a trip. I keep wondering where he is, what he's doing. Sounds silly, but... She hesitates, then continues, her voice lower. Once, I found a hotel receipt in his pocket. For Columbus, not Cleveland like he said. I told myself it was a mistake. But you know, a woman's intuition is rarely wrong. My heart pounds. Columbus. Where Fred said he was on a business trip last week, when he sent me that photo from Jenny's ice cream. A hotel receipt. Ask, try and keep my voice steady. Did you look into it? Emma shrugs, but I see her hand pause as she ties a balloon. I tried. I checked his email once, when he left his laptop open. There was a bank account I didn't know about, and a receipt for furniture from Target, exactly like the dining table in my house. I thought maybe he bought stuff for his office, but... She stops, looking at me. Why do you ask? Is something wrong? The air between us feels heavy. This is my chance to tell the truth, but the words stick in my throat. Instead, I pull out my phone, pretending to check messages. But an old notification from Fred pops up, a photo he took in Columbus with a caption, "Miss you, Mary." I don't close the screen fast enough before Emma glances over. Her eyes narrow, and I know she saw Fred's name. "Mary," she says, her voice calm but sharp. "How do you know Fred? I mean, really know him?" I take a breath, feeling like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff. Emma, I've been dating Fred for a year. In Willow Creek. I didn't know he was married, I swear. Not until I saw your Instagram post yesterday. The silence is suffocating. Emma stands frozen, still holding the balloon string, her face pale. Then she laughs, a dry, joyless sound. Dating Fred. You're his girlfriend. She steps back like she needs distance to process it. So he's been living two lives. With me and Jack here, and with you in Willow Creek. I nod, tears welling up. Emma, I didn't know. I came here for answers, but I didn't want to hurt you. I was going to leave right away, but you stayed. Emma cuts in, her voice trembling. Why? Because of you, I say without thinking. Because I saw how much you love Jack, and I couldn't let Fred keep lying to both of us. Emma turns away, hugging her shoulders like she's holding herself together. Then she pulls her phone from her pocket and opens her banking app. If he's living two lives, there'll be proof, she says, her voice firm. Help me look. If we're going to find the truth, I want to know everything. We sit at the dining table, opening Emma's laptop. She logs into her and Fred's joint account, and I help her scroll through transactions. There are charges in Willow Creek, Luigi's, Target, even a flower shop where Fred bought me roses. Then Emma finds another account, linked to an address in Willow Creek. My apartment. A receipt for a sofa identical to the one in Emma's house appears, along with monthly rent payments, in Fred's name. He bought two homes, Emma whispers, her eyes glued to the screen. Two identical homes. Did he think he could keep this up forever? I place a hand on her shoulder, feeling her tremble with anger and pain. Emma, what do we do when he gets back? Yes. She looks up, her eyes flashing with determination. We confront him. Tomorrow after the christening. And I'll make sure he pays for what he's done. Under Maple Grove's radiant autumn sun, Emma's backyard sparkles like a painting, with red maple leaves scattered across the grass. Baby Jack's christening at St. Mary's ended a few hours ago, leaving echoes of soft hymns and family laughter. Fred showed up just in time, his gray suit sharp, his confident smile hiding every secret. He hugged Emma and Jack in front of everyone, then glanced at me with a flicker of panic, quickly masked by a friendly nod. I stood still, hands clasped, feeling like I was walking on thin ice, waiting for it to crack. Now, as the last guests leave, the backyard falls quiet, just the sound of wind rustling through the wooden fence and the faint smell of cold sandwiches on the party table. Jack sleeps soundly in his crib, his cheeks rosy, leaving the three of us in the cramped kitchen, where the air feels heavy like before a storm. Emma stands by the sink, wiping a plate, but her fingers grip the cloth, knuckles white. Fred sits at the table, scrolling through his phone, shoulders slightly hunched, like he's trying to shrink from our gaze. Emma sets the plate down, the clink of porcelain against the counter sharp. She turns, her blue eyes flashing with cold resolve, and slides the laptop toward Fred. The screen lights up, showing a string of bank transactions, numbers that betray the truth he can't deny. I see Fred stiffen, his fingers pausing on his phone, but he keeps his face calm, like an actor in his final scene. Emma says nothing, just points at the screen. Fred glances at it, his brows furrowing, then looks at me, his eyes flickering with a plea for help. I shake my head, anger rising like a wave. 4 months, I believed his promises. The nights we spent together, the roses from the Willow Creek flower shop, the dreams of a shared home. Now, it's all unraveling like a torn painting, exposing the raw truth. Fred built 2 lives, one with Emma and Jack, one with me. Emma steps closer, slow, like a hunter approaching prey. She opens a PDF on the laptop, showing a hotel receipt from Columbus, where Fred said he was in Cleveland, and a Target receipt for furniture identical to the pieces in her house and my apartment. My throat goes dry, remembering yesterday when Emma and I pored over every transaction, every piece of his deception. Each number, each line was a stab at our trust. Fred stands, hands raised like he's trying to calm things down, but his eyes dart, his usual confidence gone. He looks from Emma to me, then back to Emma, searching for an escape. My heart pounds, not from fear, but from the freedom coming closer. Emma doesn't flinch. She pulls a letter from her pocket, a document from a Maple Grove lawyer, outlining her rights under Ohio marriage law. This house, the SUV in the garage, most of their joint account, all hers because Fred's betrayal broke their marriage contract. I step forward, standing beside Emma. No words needed to show our unity. Fred looks at me, his face flushed, and I know he's trying to find a way to shift blame. But I'm not the naive girl from Willow Creek who fell for his sweet talk. I contacted a lawyer friend from college in Willow Creek this morning to ensure Emma has legal support. I say nothing, just meet Fred's gaze, my eyes declaring I've chosen the side of truth. Fred clenches his fists, his lips tight, then grabs his jacket from the chair. He storms out the back door, the slam echoing like a final note. The room falls silent, just Jack's soft breathing from the crib and the ticking of the wall clock. Emma sits, hands covering her face, but no tears fall. I see her shoulders shake, not from pain but from relief. She's taken back control, not just of the house, but of her life. I sit beside her, resting my hand on the table, close but not touching, letting her feel my presence. After a moment, Emma looks up, her eyes shining like she's emerged from a storm. She gives a small, genuine smile. I smile back, relief spreading through me. We don't need many words. The truth is out, and Fred is gone, leaving behind two women stronger than he ever imagined. Jack stirs in his crib, breaking the silence. Emma stands, wiping her hands on her dress, and walks to the crib, gently lifting him. She turns back, looking at me, her eyes a quiet invitation. "There's still a lot to clean up," she says, her voice soft but steady. I nod, standing ready to help her, not just with the backyard, but with rebuilding what Fred tried to destroy. The sunset bathes Willow Creek in red, coloring the suburban rooftops and making the small river winding through town shimmer. I stand at the train station, a small suitcase at my feet, the autumn breeze cool against my coat. The Amtrak whistle sounds in the distance, signaling my trip to Columbus, where I've decided to start fresh. The Willow Creek apartment, with its IKEA rug and memories of Fred, has been cleaned out, ready for a new tenant. I'm not taking much, just some clothes, my laptop, and a newfound belief that life still holds things worth discovering. Maple Grove is now a vivid memory, not just for the painful truth about Fred, but for Emma and Jack. After that fateful afternoon at the christening, when Fred left in silence, I stayed with Emma for another day. We cleaned the backyard, folding away the gold and white balloons and storing the sandwich trays in the fridge. Emma held Jack, her eyes bright as he smiled, his tiny fingers clutching her shirt. I saw in her a new strength, not from anger, but from a determination to build a better future for her son. I think about the moment we sat in Emma's living room after Fred left. No words were needed. We understood each other through glances and small gestures. Emma pulled a bottle of apple cider from the cupboard, poured it into 2 glasses, and we toasted in silence, a quiet cheer for new beginnings. She didn't cry or complain, just smiled and stroked Jack's hair, as if he were the only reason she needed to move forward. I admired her, not just for her resilience, but for how she turned pain into purpose. The next day, Emma started rebuilding her life. She contacted her lawyer to finalize the legal steps, securing the house and the SUV. She joined a mother support group at St. Mary's, finding new friends and inspiring stories. I got a text from her this morning, a photo of Jack in a bear-patterned sweater with a short message. "We're okay. Thank you." I smiled, tucking my phone away, knowing Emma isn't just okay, she's finding herself again. For me, leaving Willow Creek is a way to let go of the past. Fred taught me a costly lesson. Love isn't sweet promises or target gifts, it's honesty and respect. I used to think I needed a man to complete my life, but now I see the strength within myself, and in unexpected bonds like my friendship with Emma. In Columbus, I've connected with a graphic design studio where I'll start a new project. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in months I feel free. The train station grows busy, with passengers pulling suitcases and kids running around, laughing. I look up at the sky where clouds drift lazily, and think of Emma in Maple Grove. I picture her pushing Jack's stroller through the park, sunlight glinting off her blonde hair, her smile growing brighter. Maybe one day I'll come back, bringing a bottle of apple cider and a new story to share. But for now, I need space to heal and rediscover myself. The train whistle sounds again, closer, pulling me from my thoughts. I lift my suitcase, board the train, and find a seat by the window. As the train moves, Willow Creek fades, its rooftops and oaks blending into the horizon. I open my laptop, starting a new design. A sketch of 2 houses, one in Willow Creek, one in Maple Grove, connected by a small bridge. That's how I want to remember this story. Not for the lies, but for 2 women who found each other and, through that, found the strength to move forward. Subscribe to the channel to follow Mary and Emma's journey, exploring stories of truth and sisterhood. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.